Welcome to Camper Van Conversion in bite-sized chunks. If you happen to have come across this page through some random link, you might want to click on the link in the top right hand corner to take you back to the introduction to tell you a little bit more about these videos and how you can get the best out of them.
Okay, wiring. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I did on wiring up the cameras in my van, and this is a rear view camera. You've probably seen it on these vans. They've got little rear view cameras because you don't generally get a good view from the rear view mirror. And it's a good thing to get going because if you're driving your van around, you've got that facility there. For me, this is a particularly a good investment because I'm rubbish at parking. I can't park a bicycle. Maybe I'm just getting in touch with my feminine side there. Or is that buying shoes I don't need? But anyway, I'm no good at parking. And with this particular kit, you not only got a camera that faces back, which acts as your rear view mirror, but you also got a second camera that you mount facing down to look at your bumper. So anything you're backing up into a parking space and you've got a bollard that's below your window line, you can see it coming, and it's a good bit kit. 60 quid, you know, for me it was a no-brainer. So let's have a look at what you get here. I got off of eBay, by the way, and it will be in the resource library details. So there's a picture of what the kit comprises of. You've got a 7-inch monitor, which is your window to the world, colour monitor, and two cameras. One looks back and one looks down. And by the way, those cameras have got infrared LEDs and infrared sensors in there. So at night, if you haven't got a lot of light, you can see things that are warm. So if you've got a person behind you, you're reversing, and your rear view mirror is not that special. Sorry, your rear view light is not that special. You know, the heat of their body will show very brightly on the camera. And I've been in pitch black in my office when I was sort of playing with this kit before I put it on the van, and I could see a moth flying around that I couldn't see with the eye. Amazing. So, good bit of kit. And here's another picture now of the monitor on my dashboard there. And that's got a quick release aspect to it, and you'll see that in the video diary in a minute. We'll get onto that. Here's a picture of it in rear view mirror mode, if you like, close up. I know it looks grainy, but really that's just this video or this picture. It's actually very, very good quality. And now here's a bumper, the bumper cam. So looking down, and you can see there's some step ladders that those small step ladders would be below the window line. So if you're reversing up, you wouldn't normally see that if you just had a regular rear view mirror. So that's the kit. Now the cameras themselves, they go on the back of the van. You've got to find a good place to put them. I ended up putting them on my door, and so they stick out a bit. But you know, this is a camper van. It's, you know, so who cares? And there they are on the back of the van. There, the two of them. It's a close-up look there. You can see now one's facing back, one facing down, and on this particular kit you get like this metal shield to protect it. You can set the angle so hopefully most of the rain will come off the lens. That's the only thing I found about this. If it's been stood and it's got wet, you need to give it a bit. Sometimes you might need to give it a bit of a wipe. Although as you drive along, it does tend to shake off. Okay, so that's the kit. Good thing to get going on wiring because two things. First of all, you've got it on your van. What if you're driving it around? Mine was sawned off road to start with, but you'd have that. But a little bit different because ordinarily you'd only be worried about wiring up in your habitable area. But with this, you've got to actually get involved with the front in the cab as well, because you've got to mount the thing on the dashboard. You need a power supply for that. You also need a power supply for the cameras at the back, and then you've got to get the video feeds between the two. So quite a good project to get going on. And let's take a look in the video diary now.
Right, so the kit comes with a cassette that holds the monitor. You put the cassette on the dashboard at a convenient place where you can sort of glance at it without obstructing stuff, and then the monitor just pops in and out. There's a quick release cable on the plug and socket, so you can just get the monitor out quickly if you need to park up without leaving it in an exposed area. You'll need a power supply. I came off the back of the cigarette lighter just because I wanted to have the cameras live with just the auxiliary switch without starting up the engine. I'm sure there's some on the fuse box, but I couldn't find it, so that was convenient for me. There's a heavy amount of juice going into that, so that's what I used. And then it's just a case of just feeding the wires back, and You know, it's interesting. I would never do this in a car. You know, start ripping the lining ring off. But it seems, in a van it's easier because they don't try to hide the screws and that sort of thing. By the way, get yourself some of those. They're really useful, sticky, self-adhesive cable clips. You just stick them on, and then you just bend the tangs over, keeps your wires in place. That's what I'm doing there now, like you can see, because I was in the way of the camera. Now I'm removing the caps that hold the grab handle locator, so I can pop the lining away. And I was saying, you know, it's easy to do in a van, and I think part of the reason is because for me, I wouldn't do this on my car, because what if I couldn't get it back together? Oh my God, you know, I've got to go to work in this in Monday. But on the van, of course, I haven't, and so I just went for it and do the same, you know, just you will get it back together. So, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm starting to feed the stuff back through. I'm still in the driving position. Got it behind that bit of lining, popping that down now, and then we're going to start working back through the cab. As I say, don't be scared about taking lining on and off. It's going back on there. It looked a bit tough, but it's going on fine. And then I'm popping the caps back on. And then you've got to start getting it down through the back of the main van. The beauty of vans, of course, is they've got ribs that strengthen the main body, and you'll see that I'm taking advantage of those ribs to use them as, if you like, conduits for the wires. So I've just come out of the lining in the front of the cab there, you can see that, and then I'm feeding the wires up into a rib there. I made a hook with a coat hanger and a piece of wire, and that proved invaluable for feeding stuff through. I think you'll get to see that in a minute. I'm going into that top rib. I used the middle rib for other wiring later on when I was putting in the domestic supplies and that sort of stuff. But there you go, best bit of kit ever. Coat hanger with a hook on it, and go fishing for wires. So for clarity then, you need to run the power supply down. You only need the positive, because what you also need to do is find somewhere where you can get a negative off your van, because your van will be negatively earthed, so there's usually some screw point onto the metalwork that you can use for your negative. So you're running that down. That's what I'm doing there now. I'm going through that top rib. There you go, fishing out with that lovely bit of kit, homemade kit. And you'll also have the signal feeds from the cameras that go back down. You've got two lots going down. You've got your rear view and your bumper mirror. The signal feeds have got plugs on both ends, so you plug it into your monitor at the cab end, and it goes into a wire piece that's got that quick release, so you can get your monitor out. And then at the other end, you can see there as all the cables exit out of the rib, you've got those two little yellow sockets there, plugs, will then plug into your cameras. I've mounted my cameras on the doors. It was the best place for mine, which means I needed to have some slack in those wires so I could open and close the door. And what I've done is I put some plastic cable tidy around the wires to protect them. In fact, I think we can see that in a minute. There you go, that's to protect the wires. Clearly that was taken at a later date. That's the back of the bathroom ensuite there, but you can see it's tidied in there nicely. I can safely open and close the doors. And there's the kit. I hope you enjoy putting it in. It's worthwhile doing.
Cameras and wiring. Trying to think why I put that into one chapter really, but anyway I have. I guess because actually the most fundamental part of the camera situation was getting the wires from the back, where I got these rear view cameras, out to the monitor at the front of the cab. Now, there has been coming onto the market some wireless bits of kit, so you can buy rear view cameras with a wireless monitor, so you don't have to worry about the wire transits between the two. And if that's an issue for you, you might want to think about it. But the only thing I would say about wiring, exactly as I said before, plan out as much as you possibly can beforehand, so you get that in early, because once you start getting your furniture and your cupboards and your lining up, it's hard. I have got a way I can get an extra run from the front of the cab down to the back if I need to. So you might want to think about putting that in. And I did actually do that because going on to cameras, you will see that I had two cameras there, a rear view and a bumper mirror. Because I'm a bit of a nerd, I've added a third camera, and it's another rear view, but it's not such a wide angle because it's a narrow field of view. So the distance perception is that of a rear view mirror. Okay, because most of these cameras are 170 degree field of view, so things seem further away. But I bought a 90-degree field of view, which gives me just like a rear view mirror. So I use that when I'm driving. If I go into parking, I switch down to the wide angle so I can see anything that's coming in behind me. And then if I want to back up to something, switch to the bumper mirror and it's looking down, seeing when I'm about to crash into a bollard or something. So the big thing I've done is I've done away with the monitor that came with the kit. And I've put in the front of the cab, and I'll show you this in a minute, an infotainment system, 70 quid from China, brilliant bit of kit. And what it is like, I guess it's like a cheap Android tablet with an input for video. So you can switch between the display for the cameras, and I've got 10-inch display. You can get 7-inch ones that are easier to fit. I put a 10-inch one on the front of the dash. You'll see that in a minute. And then you switch it to the infotainment system, and because it's an Android, you've got all the apps in there. So I've got my sat-navs, I've got my music player, it's got a hands-free phone system on it, works Bluetooth to the phone. So it's a great bit kit, 70 quid. The instructions are rubbish, but I kind of managed to work it out. And what I'll do is now, I'll show you that now. And I'm on the handheld, in the van. Quality's a little bit shaky, but hopefully you can hear what's going on there.
So this is the infotainment system. It's a 10-inch display. That camera at the moment is looking down at the bumper. I'm backed right against the house. It's not very good to show, but I've got to switch over. That is my rear view mirror, or that's really my parking mirror. It's a wide angle. It's got a depth gauge on it. That's my rear view, which gives the same sort of distance as a rear view mirror would have. So that's how I've just modified that system. To switch that between the cameras and the actual infotainment system, sat-nav, etc. There's a power switch. I've got them mounted as a remote on the dashboard, which I'll show you in a minute. But when I press that, it clicks over, and there is the infotainment system. So it's Sajic Truck, that is a sat-nav, co-pilot sat-nav, the music, the radio, maps, and also, of course, it's got on here hands-free phone as well. Excellent bit of kit, 70 quid from China. Instructions are rubbish, but a good investment for the van.